studied in college as far as mentorship? Did your dad continue to be a big mentor to you, or was it others in addition to your dad that kind of played a mentorship role that you leaned on to kind of help you get through college?
It was a little tough because I mean, as you can imagine, somebody you got a parent who made their own sweatpants in high school.
Yeah.
He didn't have nothing, and so
Right.
he paved this way for us to have an incredible opportunity, and I blew it, and so it was tough. Our relationship got a little bit strained, but
Okay.
I could always hear his voice in the back of my head, and the things that he had said when I was growing up started making more sense.
Gotcha.
So that was a big piece of it. I was still talking to him, and now I talk to him like every single day,
Yeah.
sometimes more than twice because we work together too. But a lot of the mentorship came from professors. So I had some really great teachers, some
Yeah.
really, not so great ones, but I had some incredible professors. I can name them, James Hollyfield, Bruce Levy, Keiko Flores, Chelsea Brown, Google them if you want. There's some really good people who sat there and took interest in me. Megan Nixon, who said, "Hey, there's something different about you."
Yeah.
And because of that, they continued to push the ball when, I had somewhat become estranged from other
Right.
people who had normally did in the past. So that was a interesting experience, and also taught me to broaden my horizon.
For sure.
Because prior to this point, and again, Atlanta, most of the people there
Yeah.
are doing well, black. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when I got to
Absolutely.
SMU, most of them were white or Jewish background, things like that, and that just it turned my world upside down because they were the ones supporting me. So
No, and again, I mean, I think that's important. I think, as I was kind of going through Michigan State in undergrad, my cousin, he was a big mentor to me, and kind of actually the one telling me to do engineering to get my engineering degree. But also, I remember you, kind of talk about your professors. I have one, my math professor in particular. She, I call her my spiritual mother to this day. She was very instrumental in me. Actually, my lowest grade in college, and I did my engineering degree, was in her trigonometry class. But she helped me so much when I was going through the calculus one and the calculus courses, and going through different things, classes at Michigan State. She was helping me going through the engineering. When I was going through the engineering classes, she was helping me when I had tough personal situations with brother passing away and stuff like that. She was there. So no, yeah, those mentors, they're definitely big to have as you're, especially when you're away from home like that, to give you encouragement and continue to kind of just give you motivation to keep going.
it's funny you said that too, that was your lowest grade, and it's not always the person who gives us what we want.
Right.
Like
Right.
Megan Nixon, for example, she was the first person who told me like my writing was trash. I had no idea,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I had gotten in the habit of, what's the page length? What's the
Right.
requirement? Are
Yep.
we gonna get there?
You're
Yeah,
gonna get
I
that
don't care
right.
how many words is on there. Then I
Yep.
remember she looked at my paper and she was like, Taylor, when you look at it, it looks like you're saying some really impressive stuff, but then you go back, you read it again, and you're like, you didn't really say anything. And I was like, she's like, no, read this sentence for me. So she made me read it in front of her. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I didn't have to read it. I knew what I wrote.
Right.
And
Right.
so then
Right.
she's the one who taught me, like, hey, every sentence should serve two purposes. It's either setting up the next sentence or it is the sentence that you're setting up, but it has to have value to it. And
Right.
it's like, and again, she didn't have to do that. She didn't look like me. She didn't have a similar background, but
Right.
she invested that time in me, similar to your trig professor. So
Right.
yeah.
For sure. No, and that's important, man. I always tell people all the time, man. Mentors are very important. They kind of give you encouragement. Again, they're, although you end up being good friends with them later on in life, or whatever the case may be. It's kind of tough love going through it, man. They're
Mhm.
giving you constructive criticism, and if you're willing to not take those things personally, but to try to get better from them, I mean, they're going to be a big asset to you. And I think everyone, regardless of where you're at in life, whether it's high school, college, or even at this point in time, I still have mentors. So I think that's uh, very important for people to have. And it seems like you have a similar experience with kind of having mentors along the way.
Mhm.